Hello, mutants. I'm Utisha, the movie goddess, and you're watching Mutant TV.
Ah. Welcome back, MVP. Strebo here with you as always, and I've just come out from watching the Guillermo del Toro written and produced Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Hopefully you're not too afraid of the dark, because it's kind of hard to see that poster right now, but what can you do? They turn out the lights after these late movies. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark tells the story of Alex and Kim, who are a young architect couple that move into a historic antique mansion formerly owned by an eccentric artist painter named Blackwood. Now, with a name like that, you know there's some kind of horror and shenanigans and dark occult goings on happening behind the scenes. Yeah, any kind of name like Blackwood. But anyway, young Sally, who is Alex's daughter, moves in with the couple as they are beginning renovations on their house. And lo and behold, she encounters the very dark side of the home. Now, you can see quite a few things from the trailer itself, in that there are entities and creatures that are encountered, and they're revealed to be essentially fairies. You can see it. One of the best scares in the movie is kind of ruined by the trailer. That still plays out pretty well, where she's crawling under the bed sheets and encounters one of the dark fairies. But this movie is very interesting. If you're a fan of the other Del Toro produced film El Orfanato, or perhaps Del Toro's own written and directed work, Pan's Labyrinth, or even The Devil's Backbone — I can never remember how to say it in Spanish, so I'm not even going to try — then you're probably going to like Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. But also, at the same time, if you're a fan of those movies, you might be disappointed by Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, because it very much comes across as Del Toro light, so to speak. There are a lot of the elements at play, the innocence of childhood, the ability to see, you know, the fairy worlds, the other worlds around us that adults can't see. A lot of these same kind of themes are at play in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, but they're perhaps maybe not as strongly realized as in something like Pan's Labyrinth or The Devil's Backbone. It very much feels like a Del Toro light, like he just wrote it, perhaps produced it, in that he helped get all the major players and pieces together, but, you know, it was in the end crafted by someone else, where it had a different director, which was not Del Toro. He might have pumped up the intensity a bit. But I must say, the movie has a very intense opening sequence. Pacing wise, it kind of drags through the middle, but that time is spent building up the characters. But then at the end, we have a nice big payoff. So it's definitely worth sitting through. The acting across the board is fantastic. What's that little girl's name? Bailey Madison, who plays Sally, is fantastic. You believe her every scream, her crying, all of it is so real, so intense. Katie Holmes, who I normally can't stand, is pretty decent as the likable girlfriend Kim, and Guy Pearce as the architect dad trying to rebuild his career, deal with having to raise his daughter all of a sudden from his that was sent to him by his estranged wife, and of course his daughter, who seems to be cracking up when she starts claiming that she's encountering strange little fairy creatures. But in the end, on these Strebo slasher stats, let's see. We have a defanging. I can't tell you any more about that, or else I'll spoil one of the best moments in the movie itself. Lots of stabbings, slashings, pokings, lots of critters running around in the dark. A lot of boo scares throughout the movie. There's a few limbs torn off, a lot of bone breaking, crunching, eyes stabbed, backstab, scissors used, knives, razor blades, pins, needles, all these kinds of things to make a lot of pain, a lot of viscerally painful moments throughout the movie. But for the most part, it's played for suspense, it's played for atmosphere. The atmosphere in the movie itself is fantastic. The setting is wonderful. The mansion is a spectacular setting. The production design on it is gorgeous. That's what makes a lot of the middle part of the movie fun, is just kind of the exploration of this really labyrinthine and baroque, strange occult mansion. So it all kind of picks up there at the end. It all comes together. Good acting. The direction is good throughout. The CGI is tastefully done, used in a way which is very, very overt, much like in the recent Fright Night remake. But because we're dealing with something that's new and original when it's presented on the screen, it's much, much more believable. The CGI was handled by the Weta team, if you're familiar with that, the guys that did Gollum and that kind of stuff for Lord of the Rings. And it's all very believable. It's handled really, really well. Very spooky, very, very tense, atmospheric movie. Now, it's rated R. I kind of had a hard time believing that, because I don't think there's any bad language. There's definitely no nudity. There are gore and attacks and violence and that kind of thing, but it really felt like it was toned down more for a kids movie than anything else. But don't let that deter you. Guillermo del Toro definitely puts his stamp on the movie. Even if it comes across light, it's still miles ahead of a lot of other recent fares, such as remakes of Fright Night and what have you. I haven't seen Final Destination 5 yet, so I can't compare those two, though I was about to, but once I see it, perhaps I'll mention it. So definitely check it out if you get the chance. Strebo gives Guillermo del Toro's Don't Be Afraid of the Dark a 7 out of 10 on the Strebo Screamometer. 7 out of 10. Check it out. And we'll be rocking along with this Halloween season. I'm calling it Halloween already. That's because there are Halloween decorations in the stores already, believe it or not, and there's horror movies every weekend. This coming weekend, we've got 2 new ones coming out. So let's see what those are about. Apollo 18 and Shark Night 3D. So as always, StreboMutantVille.com. I will see you there.
You're watching Mutant TV.